Welcome to koam-presents, a podcast produced by KOAM News Now and the 4 States' most watched news team.
The advisors at McGavran Financial Group have been helping people invest today for a more enjoyable tomorrow since 1984. In Joplin, see Earl or Mike. In Pittsburgh, see Earl or Steve. McGavran Financial Group. Invest today, enjoy tomorrow.
Neosho Memorial in Chanute welcomes another outstanding general surgeon to its surgery center. Dr. Law joins surgeons in the field of urology, orthopedics, women's health, and general surgery. Neosho Memorial in Chanute, offering the latest technology close to home.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the very first Pigskin podcast. I'm KOAM Sports Director Jacob Lindner. Now, the point of this podcast is to kind of get out of the structure of television, to talk to some coaches, talk to some players, outside of what you would normally see on TV. So we're going to be doing this for 10 weeks. This is number 1. It's going to coincide with our Press Box show, which is every Friday night on Fox 14 at 11 o'clock. We're going to do it every week. We'll talk about games that happened last week, what kind of stood out to us the week before, and then what's coming up this week. I do want to give a thanks to our sponsors, Jock's Niche, Carnes Pro Tire, Neosho Memorial Regional Medical Center, and McGavran Financial Group. Of course, without those people, this wouldn't be a thing, and we're excited about getting this started. And hopefully, you stick around with us, through the 10 weeks while we're doing this. So obviously this week, heading into this week, it's the opening week for high school football in Kansas. It's the opening week for both Pittsburg State and Missouri Southern. They'll both be in action on Thursday. But first off, we're going to start in Missouri. It is week 2 this week, but last week there were a couple things that we want to talk about. First off, the Joplin Eagles 34-3 over Branson. Obviously a big-time defensive performance from a team where, there were some question marks on the defensive side. They lost 9 of 11 starters, which, it's Joplin. It's a big school. They have athletes, but losing that many, guys on that side of the ball and to be able to come out and hold a team to 3 points, especially in the COC, is a great start. Obviously, the story of that game, aside from the defense, sophomore wide receiver Davin Thomas, 116 yards, 2 scores. When we head into the season, everybody kind of knows, Joplin's had offensive weapons for the last few years, and, you go in and, Terrence Gibson is there at wide receiver, but, if this Davin Thomas kid, if he can, produce like that when Terrence, is getting so much attention, it's going to be a good year for the Joplin offense as well. And speaking of the Joplin offense, Hobbs Gooch, quarterback, making his first start of the season, 16 for 20, about 300 yards, 4 scores, did have 2 picks. But that's kind of expected when you're heading out there in week 1, and especially, when Joplin does what they do on offense. The game I was at last week, Webb City opening up against Nixa. Now, Nixa won that game 42-19, and I know Webb City fans, you don't want to lose, but you also know that, from the last few years that this is a team that always gets better from start to finish. They proved that last year, winning the last 7 games on their way to a state championship, and they had that big early loss to Carthage last year, and they were able to turn it around and go win a state title. Luckily, I guess for Webb City, Nix is a Class 6 school. They don't have to worry about seeing them again in the playoffs. But I kind of felt like that loss was a little different than that Carthage loss last year. Obviously Webb City turned around and beat Carthage in the district championship last year after losing to them, by double digits in the regular season. In that game, Webb City turned it over last year, I think 3 times in the first quarter. I was there, and it was like, man, this isn't really what Webb City does. Last Friday against Nixa, it kind of just felt like, Nixa was a little bit better of a football team, and I don't so much feel like Webb City gave that one away as much as I feel like Nixa is just really good, and they're going to be a problem for everybody else in the league moving forward. Carthage 56-26 over Republic. Luke Gall had 6 touchdowns. Like, sometimes I feel a little guilty. Like, I'm saying this dude's name on TV so much. I'm like, Luke Gall. I've been doing that for 3 years, it seems like. But I got a Luke Gall story. I think not last year, but the year before. So it would have been his sophomore year. I think Carthage opened with Ozark. They won the game, and Gall rushed for like 250 and 5 touchdowns. And, this is a kid that I had heard a little bit about, but I didn't know he was going to, pop off and do that in his first game as a sophomore. So I went over that Monday following the game, and I said, Coach, let me talk to Luke Gall. He had a big game. And that kid walked over, and I was like, are you kidding me? This kid is, 15, 16? never seen a 15, 16-year-old kid built like that kid. If you've ever been around him, it looks a little different. I'll tell you this, it looks a little different from the stands than it does being next to him on the sideline. The dude is as solid as it comes and is as athletic as it comes, and he certainly had an impressive week to open the season for Carthage. Lamar did what they did, 48-0 over Marshfield. Look, Lamar's good. I don't feel like I need to tell you guys that. You've been around, you've watched Lamar football. They know what they're doing. They're in there. They're another year under Coach B. Shore. They got a bunch of dudes back. We're going to be talking about them plenty into November. It's wild because I feel like I got to talk about Lamar every week when they go, because they have the reputation and they have the tradition that they do. But a few years ago, I've been doing this, 7-8 years. When I started this job, one of the first times I went over and talked to Scott Bailey when he was the head coach there at Lamar. I went over and did a season preview, and then I think I talked to him after the first or second week after a win, and he said, "Listen, man, you should probably be giving love to some other teams because we're going to be there in November, and you're going to give us plenty of coverage when we get into the playoffs and stuff." And so I always appreciated that. From him. But still, it's one of the best traditions and one of the best biggest powerhouses in Missouri high school football history. So we're going to continue to talk about them. Of course, Seneca 44-8 over Aurora. They got their home opener this week against Springfield Catholic. And then one of the games that I'm not going to say I was surprised about, but I was a little surprised. Carl Junction rolling 42-21 over Ozark. That was a nice win for them. It's nice to see Carl Junction kind of get some footing early in the season. After a little bit of a down year last year, they'll have a tough one coming up this week, hosting Webb City on Thursday. They moved their game up to Thursday, so that'll be a good early season test for Carl Junction after that big week 1 win to really kind of see where they are. On the Kansas side, as I mentioned, this week is week 1 of the regular season, and you'll hear this in a little bit. We sat down with Columbus head coach Blake Burns and senior quarterback Brett Hamilton. Every year we put all of our games throughout the season in this big spreadsheet. So every week we look at it and we decide where we're going and who's going where every Friday night. As soon as I put that one in pretty early. Just going in alphabetical order, Columbus is pretty high up there. And when I saw that they were playing Girard in week 1, I didn't have to look anywhere else on the spreadsheet to know, that's where I was going. So that's a big CNC rivalry game. Another big CNC rivalry game, of course, in Frontenac. The Raiders host the Colgan Panthers. Now, Colgan has a lot of good dudes back. By their standards, had a little bit of a down year last year, but, they got guys Cooper Simmons, Tucker Harrow, Colin Height. They got a bunch of good skill players back. They got a good group of linemen back. I think Colgan will definitely be better. As far as Frontenac goes, man, they lost 18 seniors. That was a super special team last year that went on to finish as the 3A state runner-up. It's one of those things, when we do predictions in our Pigskin magazine, it's really tough when a team loses 18 seniors because you're like, man, the guys sitting behind those seniors could be really good. They could be just as good. They could not be really good, and we really have no idea because we've never seen them play. So it's really hard to do predictions, for a team like Frontenac who, you never want to go, okay, 3A state runner-up last year, but they lose a bunch of kids. I think they're going to lose this game. It almost doesn't feel right to go like, okay, they're going to go 500. Not that I would pick Frontenac to go 500. I think we put them in the magazine at 6-2 or 5-3. But it's really hard. It's just really hard to know, and that's one of the tough things about doing our season predictions. Pittsburg at home against Emporia Friday night. A lot of new stuff going on for Pittsburg. Obviously, this is their first year under head coach Josh Latimer, who is a Pittsburg State Hall of Famer, is a former defensive line coach for the Gorillas. If you've ever been around him, you know that he's going to bring the energy on Friday night, man. Just being around him on the sidelines and in the pregame huddle in his time at Pittsburg State, there were times where, I walked away from the huddle ready to run through somebody, ready to run through a brick wall. So I'm excited to see what Pittsburgh looks like in their first game under their new head coach, Josh Latimer. As I mentioned, Columbus home opener against Girard on Friday. That's where I'm going to be. It's obviously a huge game. A lot of eyes are going to be on that one. It's a huge game with CNC implications right off the bat. Their head coach, Blake Burns, senior quarterback Brett Hamilton, join us after this.
Rough Country is at Carnes Pro Tire. Complement your truck or Jeep with a new Rough Country lift kit or protect your truck with a retractable or tri-fold bed cover. Only at Carnes Pro Tire and Auto Center, just south of Baxter Springs.
Did you know that Jock Stitch Sporting Goods can provide your team with fully custom uniforms? With over 35 years of experience, the experts at Jock Stitch can set your team up with the best-looking uniforms and apparel at the most competitive price possible. Specializing in discounts for your school, booster club, coaching staff, club teams, or business, you won't find a better solution. See how Jock Stitch can help your team at the corner of 6th and Broadway in downtown Pittsburgh or online at jocksnitch.com.
Sporting goods from Jock Snitch.
All right, guys, we're sitting down now with Columbus head coach Blake Burns and quarterback Brett Hamilton. Guys, appreciate you being on. First off, I want to ask you about your jamboree. You said you went to Iola. Tell me a little bit, Coach, about what you guys took away from that jamboree and what you've been working on since.
We took away from it that we still had a ways to go. We weren't, as successful as we wanted to be starting out. Kind of hit some bumps in the road, but the second and third rotation we got through, we kind of hit our stride a little bit, and we saw what we were capable of doing.
Brett, talk a little bit about how camp is going. Camp can kind of drag on. I assume it's hot. Talk a little bit about camp and what's been working for you guys and what you feel good about.
I think defensively we're feeling really good. We've been beating up on each other quite a bit. I think we're ready to just get after it with another team, and that was fun with the jamboree. But I think we're really excited. We're putting a lot of good things together. Excited to see what it's like on Friday night.
Everybody kind of talks about, everybody says the same thing, ready to hit somebody else, and I assume that's the case for you guys. Coach, you have a huge one right off the bat in week one, facing a Girard team that was undefeated last year in the regular season, won a regional championship. How does that land for you? Do you like having such a big game, right off the bat?
We're honestly kind of used to it at this point. We've had Frontenac for, last 2 years right off the bat, so we're used to big games. We're also used to in-service days whenever we have our first game of the season. So kids will be out of school on Friday. They're going to have to get up out of bed and come in, go through a walkthrough, have breakfast, things like that. But, we're looking forward to the challenge. No greater test than to face a team that's supposed to be undefeated, supposed to be top dogs in the league, and we'll see how we stack up.
Brett, when I look at the CNC, I always – like when you guys played Girard, I'm like, oh, that's a good rivalry game. When you guys play Colgan, almost every game in the CNC is a cool rivalry game. I want to ask you about those rivalries. Are there certain rivalries inside the CNC that, mean more to you, or you kind of want to win a little more?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely games that, you have circled every single year. You got the Frontenacs, the Girards, the Colgans, the Galenas, all of them that, you're looking forward to playing them. And, it's easy to get up for those games. And those are definitely, those are fun weeks to look forward to.
I remember, being in school and playing basketball, and there were teams that, that I always wanted to beat, and rivals that I wanted to beat, and it was crazy. And I don't think people who aren't in sports kind of understand how it goes. Like, you can see these people outside of the game, and love them, and hang out with them, and have fun with them. But there's a switch that goes on right in the middle of the game where it, like, I don't want to say you want to kill them, but like, you want to make sure that you're the one winning at the end, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Hit it right on. When, I look, when I'm on a court, field, whatever it is, like I'm competing. It's really, it's my guys versus your guys. It's really how it. There's no friends really. I'm there to beat you, and that's it. After the game, it can be what it is. But exactly, hit it on the head.
Brett, when I came by practice earlier, having Landon back is something that, Coach said that, was a big deal for you guys, Landon Midget. I guess we kind of talk about what he means to the team, as a fellow senior, and what having him back will do for you guys this year.
Oh, yeah. Landon, he's the best. He's a great leader. He's, you can always count on him on the field. I love having him. Coach Burns jokes, calls him my safety blanket, but, I think almost in a way not having him last year helped a lot of other guys out too, and I think having him back just adds another weapon. I think it's going to be great.
Coach, you're entering your fourth year here with the team. The year before, the team won one game, and then you take over, and you guys go 8-2, I think, the following year. What was able to, what worked so well for you so quickly to kind of get that thing turned around really quickly?
Honestly, it was just buy-in from our seniors at that point. We talked about all the struggles that we'd had during that 1-8 season. Being an assistant in the Columbus program, graduating from Columbus High School, knowing all of the kids, honestly, being able to look at a lot of parents during parent meeting and say, your kids act a lot like you did during whenever you were in school, may have scared them a little bit. But community buy-in was great. Administration, having Mr. Grundy, who was the head coach, now slipping into that administrative role. And Mr. David's been a great AD for us to help us out with whatever we need within the football program. But honestly, just buy-in from the kids. They kind of just took the lead of things and made it real easy for me to kind of transition into the head coaching role.
I got to be honest, that season was one of my favorite seasons to cover you guys in my time here, in part because you guys threw it in my face a little bit that I predicted you. You won one game the year before. I don't remember what I picked you guys to win, 3 or 4 games. It was better than the year before, but did you guys talk about that? Are you like this dude Leonard? What is he doing?
Being entirely honest with you, you didn't come see us during the preseason until we won that first game. Honestly, it rubbed us a little bit the wrong way, but let's be entirely honest. We won one game. You had no reason to come see us in the preseason. But, yeah, me and Mr. Cassidy, our senior quarterback that year, we did have a conversation before you showed up. We basically kind of had it scripted to throw it in your face a little bit. But that's kind of how we operate. We always operate with that crack on our shoulder. We're always waiting for somebody to count us off, don't think much of us, and that kind of motivates this team, this community to keep fighting.
I have to be honest, when he said the things that he said to the camera, he goes, "We noticed that you didn't come by for a I know you wanted to throw it in my face." That was one of the happiest moments of my career. I was like, this is because so many times we go out there to talk to players and coaches, and it's the same stuff. It's like, yeah, we're practice good, we need to get better, stuff like that is what I'm out there for, and I understand that in the business I'm in, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, we like I said, we always operate with that chip, crack on our shoulder, however you want to put it. But our kids fight extremely hard, and we realized it was good television for you. But we do try to be good sportsmen. We do try to do things the right way. But we do want to have a little swagger to us. So.
Another story that I don't think I told you, or I don't know if maybe Gabe told you, Gabe Martin, the running back that just graduated for you guys. The next year, I predicted you guys in the magazine at like 7-1, I believe, and I think it was Frontenac was at your place. Maybe you were at their place, and you beat them like 25-6, I think, and that was the team that I predicted, I think, to be ahead of you guys. And he scored a long touchdown. I remember he came down the sideline right in front of me, and as soon as he scored, he ran right by me, and I don't know how many times he said, 7-1, Leonard, 7-1, 7. He's just, it made me happy.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be honest, I didn't look at predictions this year because, honestly, predictions kind of bit us in the rear end last year. But I got a text from Landon Midget the night you put the predictions out. So we've already got that in the back of our mind where we were predicted, and, we've got to – we know who we're picked to lose to, obviously. We know who we're picked to finish under. And that's honestly just more motivation for our kids, for our coaches, for our community to not live up to that standard, but to exceed it.
Brett, I want to talk to you about being a starting quarterback. You split time the last few years with Jackson, and you've been out there, you made a bunch of plays. Is there something specific you want to prove? Being the guy this year, rolling out there week 1.
I think there's always something to prove for me every time I step on the field. I think having that competition with Jackson, honestly, I don't know if I'd be the quarterback I am now without that competition. It forced me every day to show up to practice and just give it my absolute best. And definitely, I know I'm the guy this year. I get 100% of the reps. And, there's definitely some people I'd like to prove wrong that, maybe I should have got a few more reps out throughout the way. But, in hindsight, I think splitting those reps was worth it.
Last question I have for you guys, and Brett, I'll start with you, but it's the same question for both. This Columbus community comes out, to support you guys every week. Just talk about, the support you get from the Columbus community and how excited you are to go out there in week 1 and get to play in front of them in your first game.
There's nothing like it. There's no way to explain it. The juices just are flowing as soon as you step on that field and see everybody there. You get you go through warm-ups and people are kind of coming in and everything, and then you get to run out there and you see everybody there, and there's no other feeling in sports like it. I love it.
Coach, we talk about the support of the community, in your time there, what it means to get game 1 at home.
Our place is fantastic. There's no other place like it. A lot of people hate coming there. They don't like our PA guy. They don't like our street people. They don't like us in general, but I love it there. Somebody that has played there as a player, coached there for a long time, it's fantastic. The street people are nuts. People in the crowd, if we're playing well, they love us. If we're playing bad, they don't love us. And they're pretty honest with us. I mean, there's years where our 1-8 year, I'd walk out the gate and a parent I know really well over the years informed me we stunk. But you know what? They're always going to be honest with you. They're always going to know where you stand, but they're always going to hate who the other team is. And it's a great atmosphere. It's going to be awesome that Friday night to walk out there. Hell's Bells is going to play when our kids run out on the field, and it's going to be awesome.
I said that was my last question, but I lied because you made me think of another question. Are there specific places that you guys, don't like to play or don't enjoy? Because I imagine, I don't know what's coming to your mind, but the people in Galena are right on top of you with that fence right there. They're kind of right up next to the field, but I don't know if that's your answer. But, are there places that, I don't want to say you don't like to play because I don't want you to, you're going in and you're about to go on the road to a bunch of places, but are there places that are tougher to play for you guys?
I sure like the turf in Girard now, but no, as far as other places go, really, I mean, I'm not going to say I like playing away more, but there's something different about playing away more. I like being, I like their whole crowd being there and, being the underdogs or, the people that are hated there a little bit more, and that's always a good feeling to me. But.
I know what you mean. That was always my favorite in high school, to go on the road and know that the people hated you so bad, but you're still going to, walk away and beat them in the end. Coach, is there, a place that, you don't like to visit or a place that's a little harder for you guys to play or maybe focus?
Honestly, the atmosphere at Frontenac's it's always a tough one because they are so competitive. They are coached so well. Our community doesn't like going to Galena. But I think there's a lot of parallels whenever you really get down to it. They say that people in Galena are crazy, but I guarantee the people that show up from Galena whenever we play at our place, they'll tell you that we're nuts. But, it's every place you go in the CNC has a certain atmosphere, and it's got its own niche to it that kind of makes it somewhat of a detractor. But at the same time, though, I almost hear, kind of like Brett kind of said, if they don't like us, it almost kind of riles us up just a little bit more.
All right, guys, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you joining us. Good luck. I knew as soon as I put the schedules in our spreadsheet when I saw you guys in Girard in week 1. I didn't have to look at the rest of the spreadsheet to know where I was going week 1. So, I'll be out there. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's almost it for us here. Man, I love having those guys in here. I knew when we had the idea to do this podcast, I knew I wanted to talk to them because really that 2019 season was really one of the most fun times I had covering a high school football team. Just their kind of honesty with me as the season went along, that we kind of picked them low and they shoved it in my face, as you heard, all year long. And, it was great television. And, I really like those kids. They always have good kids over there at Columbus, and they're always fun to be around. Now, before we go, obviously I want to touch on college football, which Pittsburg State and Missouri Southern both open their seasons on Thursday, and they both get to play at home. Missouri Southern opens with a tough one facing Nebraska Kearney. Now the Lopers ranked number 14 in the nation coming into the season. So definitely a tough one for Missouri Southern right out of the gate. But I'm going to tell you something. I really like this Missouri Southern team. In my time here, I told you I've been doing this for 7-8 years. This is the most excited I've been to watch a Missouri Southern football team. It's the best I've ever felt about a Missouri Southern football team. Not only do they have, some local guys that I really like to watch, Colton Winder, Coleman Booker, Nathan Glades, It's always fun to watch local high school products go on and be good players for local colleges, but just the stability they have, it feels like they got some footing last year, and it feels like they're going in the right direction really for the first time in a few years. They got stability in the coaching staff, offensive, defensive coordinators, and I think that's really going to pay off for them. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to go whack Nebraska Kearney Thursday night, but if you ask me, like, are they going to win? I don't know. They got a chance. Now, you might think I'm crazy, but I think they got a chance. I'm not joking. I like this football team, and I think they're going to surprise some people this year. As far as Pittsburg State, they open up against Central Missouri Thursday night. That place is going to be rocking. I'm not a huge fan of the Thursday night games, honestly. It feels a little weird, but going under the lights for game number one and having an evening crowd, it's always a special atmosphere over there. It's a special atmosphere any week they play there, but going under the lights and having all the students there, on campus, sometimes on Saturdays they might go home or they might have family in town, but it's a Thursday. The students are there. They're going to be loud. Everybody's ready for game one. I'm excited to be out there and see what this Pitt State team is kind of made of. They got their whole offensive line back. I know people don't go to football games and go, I can't wait to watch the offensive line. But it's something that I'm excited to see. They got dudes up there, and of course quarterback Chad Dodson. He started the last game of the season last year, had a nice game against Fort Hays State, and the week before that played the second half against Washburn. See kind of how he's progressed, knowing he's the guy, having a full off season to kind of work and to build chemistry, with those receivers. I'm excited to kind of see where he takes a next step, and excited to watch this team on defense as well. They do lose some guys, Caden Roy, Jordan Hindy, Dallas Flowers. Dallas Flowers, by the way, former Pittsburg State Gorilla. We're recording this on Tuesday, so I'm going to say today. Today made the 53-man roster for the Indianapolis Colts. He was an undrafted free agent back in May, so it's pretty cool to see a guy who played right here in Pittsburgh, earn his spot on an NFL roster. But he does make the 53-man roster. But Pittsburgh State loses him on the back end, not only as a corner, but as a kick returner. Where he was obviously really explosive. So, I think they have a chance to be really good on defense. Man, there's local guys all over that defense. I mean, we're talking about Brandon Malikas. We're talking about Zeke Wall, Carl Junction kid. We're talking about PJ Sarwinski over there. I mean, there are local guys on the defense that I can't wait to see and kind of see how they move forward without some of their the biggest playmakers from last year. Now, before we go, I want to remind you that. This week is the first week of our Press Box show, which will be at 11 o'clock on Fox 14. I know it's a little late night, but that also gives you time to get back from your football games. You go, you watch your kids play, or you play yourself. You get to go home, maybe take a little shower, and then sit down on the couch and see what happened with the local football scene. That's going to be Friday night Press Box, 11 o'clock on Fox 14, and then of course it's week 2 of 4 State Friday Night, which is on KOAM at 10:20. It's basically the second half of our 10 o'clock news. We call it something else. We call it 4 State Friday Night. It's really, the second half of KOAM news at 10. So, we'll be there with high school football highlights and scores from all across the area. I want to thank our sponsors one more time, Jock Snitch, Carnes Pro Tire, Neosho Memorial Regional Medical Center, and McGavran Financial Group. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this. I love seeing these businesses support local high school football, local college football, because community sport I think is what really makes this area special for sports, and it's really why I'm still here and why I continue to love what I do here at KOA. But that's it. We're done. We'll talk next week.
Neosho Memorial in Chanute welcomes another outstanding general surgeon to its surgery center. Dr. Law joins surgeons in the field of urology, orthopedics, women's health, and general surgery. Neosho Memorial in Chanute, offering the latest technology close to home.
The advisors at McGavran Financial Group have been helping people invest today for a more enjoyable tomorrow since 1984. In Joplin, see Earl or Mike. In Pittsburgh, see Earl or Steve. McGavran Financial Group. Invest today. Enjoy tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to KOAM Presents. For the latest content and local news, weather, and sports, please go to koamnewsnow.com.